Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Horror Snob. My name's Michael James. I am the Horror Snob, and I'm here with 3 more new movies we're going to be previewing today. Some really funny films at that, and I don't know about you, but I like that. I like a little break with some humor in between all my blood and guts. All the drama and torment that you see in most horror films, let's get a little giggle in between all of that. And all of that being said, that doesn't mean that these aren't still horror films at their core, that there isn't gonna be mass amounts of bloodshed. Just a better balance of the two. So, let's buckle in and start talking about these films and kick it off today with number 1, Werewolves Within. Based on a multiplayer VR game from about 2016, the premise of this movie is very simple: werewolves attacking a small town. The game had just as simple a premise. The difference between the two is that the game really existed in some sort of medieval landscape. The movie's getting a more modernized version. A modern town, present day, sheriff, and a postal worker are the primary people we're following, portrayed by Sam Richardson and Milana Vaintrub. Now, the names might not stand out, but if I say, hey, that one dude from Veep, and hey, that one girl from the AT&T commercials, you probably know who I'm talking about, or at least you have some idea. This whole cast, the whole movie, is going to be faces you recognize. Maybe 8, 10 people, but names, not so much. It's an ensemble movie filled with the people that usually play the tertiary roles in television shows or films. And that's not to say anything negative. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm looking forward to people who a lot of times are playing background roles getting a chance to really stand out as a collective group. The movie looks fun, it looks funny, it looks well done, and I expect this movie to pay off in a big way, both in gore and in funny. Maybe not quite on Shaun of the Dead level, but maybe also not that far off. Look for Werewolves Within coming out very soon, June 25th or July 2nd. I have seen both dates listed. I believe it's going to be hitting video on demand at the very least on June 25th. Not sure about the July 2nd date. Might be hitting theaters on that date. And number 2, it's False Positive. A movie that looks a little bit like a modern take on Rosemary's Baby, if done in a very satirical manner. I expect a lot of dry humor moments to this, a little bit of quirky adventure in there as well, but there's a balance too. There are scenes, effects that you see in the trailer that look very, very dark, very serious. Things that you would see in Pulse or Sinister, The Conjuring, The Ring, some really tormented looking shit. So, not entirely certain what to expect from this film. If it pulls the whole thing off, if it pulls off the balance, you've got a really solid film with a hell of a cast behind it. Ilana Glaze is the lead, Justin Theroux is her man, and you got people like Sophia Bush, Gretchen Mol, and of course Pierce Brosnan in it as well. Brosnan being that very questionable fertility doctor that they're going to see, and of course it seems like all shit goes downhill from there. Should be a really interesting movie at the very least. Again, not sure how the balance is going to get pulled off between the satire, between the humor, and the darker moments. But from all intents, what you see in the trailer, this should be a really enjoyable film. You can find it available on the 25th on Hulu. It's an original of theirs. Hey gang, before we finish up today's episode, just a quick reminder to check out the website, horrorsnob.com. You can find a full archive of everything I've put out thus far, some truly awesome novelty items, and absolutely rare horror memorabilia authentically autographed by dudes like Sid Haig, John Carpenter, and Bela Lugosi. All available for you at horrorsnob.com. And now let's get back into it. And finally today at number 3, it's Vicious Fun. This one screams Sushi Girl meets Smokin' Aces done comedy style. And the biggest representation of the comedy in this is the fact that David Koechner is at the center of this movie. Whenever you see him, you know there's at least going to be a good handful of laughs, regardless of whether it's a horror film or not. The whole premise of the movie follows a young kid who accidentally finds himself in the middle of a meeting he should be nowhere near. Talking some serial killer level people having a meeting of the minds at a Chinese restaurant. He somehow makes his way out of there. They're going to use him as a scapegoat. And so dude is trying to convince the police that he is not some mass fucking murderer. It should be solid, full of laughs, some really dark moments. And from the trailer, there's a lot of great contrasting color usage as well. Some stylism that I personally love to see. Directed by Cody Callahan, who did Antisocial and Let Her Out. Two very solid movies. I expect this one to be no different, if not his best movie to date. Julian Richings, Robert Maillet, David Koechner, a great cast of people you are very familiar with. And like Werewolves Within, you may not recognize all those names, but you're certainly going to recognize their faces. And those faces are ones that are synonymous for us with everything bad in the world. Just, I don't know who they are as people. Maybe really good people, but when it comes to movies and television, these are some bad motherfuckers. Should be a lot of fun. Check it out. Available on Shudder on June 29th. All right. That's it for me today. As always, I invite you to take a moment, hit that subscribe button and the bell. Stay up to date with all the reviews, rankings, previews, trailers, everything I pump out on a regular basis. And while you're at it, hit me up on social media. I'm across the board on all your favorite places. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Find me, like me, subscribe, because there's so much more good horror stuff going on there you don't even know about here. One more time, my name's Michael James. I am the Horror Snob. As always, I thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.